Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
and Bailey.
Today is our book club episode.
Bonus book club.
Technically, this was our November book club. We did host it like the day before Halloween just because of scheduling conflicts within the group.
Yeah.
So we kind of technically had 2 in October, but this episode's coming out in November, so it's perfect.
Yes, so you still have time.
Yes. And I feel like this book was perfect for this, for like reading throughout October.
It was. I had no idea it was going to be.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was Brittany's pick, and it was The Unmaking of June Farrow, Adreinne Young.
Yes.
And apparently this is, I think like this was her second one. She has a Spells for Forgetting was her first one. They're not like in a series or anything, but
I just added that to my one to read.
Yeah, it looks good.
Cute. Yeah.
Yeah. So I loved this book. I thought it was so fun. I read it in like 3 or 4 days, I think.
Same.
And it just felt really like comfy, cozy. It was very like, what's that word? Ethereal or something like that.
Yeah. I felt like it was super like whimsical.
Yes.
Almost like, because this book has magic in it, which I wasn't expecting. And I guess it's not magic.
Yeah.
It's more just like, is she even a witch?
No, they're cursed. But at the beginning when it opens, it kind of, like the way that it opens makes you kind of feel like witchy or magic-y, you know, but it's more time travel than it is magic.
Yeah, but it feels magical.
But it does feel very magical.
Yeah. Very magical. I felt like, even though there was no talk of spells, there was no talk of like wizardry or anything, that's just what I kept imagining. Like whenever she would have her flashbacks or things like that, I can imagine it being like, or like when her and Eamon are like connecting and like looking into each other's eyes, I just feel like I could see like sparks of electricity like flying around them.
Yes.
And that's so funny because it's not even a magical book.
Yeah, but
maybe I mean, the cover.
The cover does make, because it's like all sparkly and stuff.
Yeah.
It makes it feel very magical. And then also I would say like because what they use to travel through time is like kind of like a time turner, kind of like Hermione's time turner in Harry Potter. It kind of feels similar in that aspect. And then also I think just the flashbacks that she gets, or like the memories that she gets of the future and whatnot, that all feels very, you know, it's out of this world. So it feels supernatural.
Ooh, supernatural is a good way to put it for sure. But I couldn't believe that it wasn't. I couldn't believe she's not a witch. I just found that out.
I think like at the beginning, the way that they open it is so good with like, for centuries, the Farrow women have been known in whatever the small town is. I forget already. Do you remember?
No.
Gosh dang it. Well, they mention it so many times.
They do. I was going to say, you could probably open up the page and just find it.
Yeah. Jasper. I didn't see it. Wait, no, maybe I did.
Told you.
And didn't realize. But it's like the Farrow women of Jasper have been known for centuries to lose their minds. And so it kind of feels witchy. Like there's kind of like the coven, like the witch coven. And that the Farrow women are losing their minds because they're in some dark stuff.
Yeah. You know? It seriously reminded me so much of Practical Magic because they are a like generation of women who can't have love. Like their husband or whatever will always, or whoever they love will always die because the women are cursed. So maybe that's where I was like making that connection too. But no, it was such a good book. I loved it so much.
I really, really liked it.
I feel like it was a perfect book for me for like right place, right time. Because you know how if you're reading the wrong book at the wrong time, even if it's a great book, like sometimes it's just not what you want or you're in a different space in your life or whatever. But this book was right place, right time for me.
Yeah. We talked about that with Recursion because both of these were time travel novels, but very, very different vibes. And someone else in our book club, Morgan Kurtz, said that she had read another time travel book before this one. Yeah. And it was just really, really well done, like 5-star read for her. So it was like bad timing for her.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, man, I wish you had read this book at a different time because I feel like you would have loved it.
Yeah. And I feel like it was good timing for me. Like I've read some silly romances and I've read some fantasy and I've read like some thrillers and stuff. And I felt like this was just like a comfy, cozy, atmospheric read.
Me too. You know what? I was so surprised by all of our book club being really thrown by all the time travel, because I don't feel like I thought about the time travel in this once. Like, I still don't think of this as a time travel book.
I don't really either. I've just thought of it, more of just a quaint story.
Yeah.
And that, because the other thing is, so when she first travels back in time, I had kind of been expecting her to go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't. She stays in the old time the whole time. Like, the entire part of the book, like, only a little snippet of it is the future, and most of it is the past.
Yeah.
So even though I expected them to go back and forth, like, I think that would have made it more time travel-y to me.
Yeah. But this one was more like whenever you watch a movie or whatever and they, like, open a book and they fall into the book.
Yeah.
They're, like, a part of that world now.
That's
what I felt about this book. So I was so shocked by everyone being really kind of, a lot of people I felt like were, like, put off by the time travel.
For sure.
Because it could get confusing, but I was like, while at book club, I was like, dang, I did not realize how confused by this book I was, because I was not focused on any of that.
No, me neither.
It was so funny.
I don't know. I guess with books like that, a lot of the time, I'm like, I'm just going to keep turning the page.
Yep.
It'll make sense eventually.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I'm like, if I'm supposed to get it, I'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I think I was so endeared to the characters that it didn't matter to me. Like, the logistics of the travel and stuff like that didn't matter to me. I really just wanted to figure out, like, what happened, what, who was who. I thought there were going to be some big reveals, which there were, like Caleb being her brother and Annie being Bernie. That was so sweet. And
that was not something that hit home for me.
Oh,
it hit for everybody. But not me.
It hurt. It hurt so good. Like, it was one of those moments for me.
I do think that I had the disadvantage because I audiobooked all of it. Mm-hmm. And I do think that, especially for me, my attention span's not so great unless I'm like full on attention to the audiobook kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I think I missed some things at the very beginning. So I missed Birdie. Like, Birdie was not even a character in my mind.
Oh, she just was such like a caretaker and so helpful.
And she was like a character in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean,
I never even heard her name.
The beginning was so short though.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But when June talks about her in the beginning, she really just says things like, Birdie's always been around. She's been my grandma's best friend or Gran's best friend for forever or whatever. Do you remember Ida?
Oh, shoot, no.
So that was a short period too, and not as important, but Ida was the person at the library who, like, helped her with the documents and stuff.
Yes, I do remember her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt like I was so surprised because in the memories and stuff, like, she talks about Mason a lot whenever she is not my Mason. The book has a character named Mason. I was just really surprised by how much of an emotional reaction the Birdie thing caused for a lot of our book club members. Like, a lot. And I was like, that is so crazy. Because when I read that, I was like, oh, that's cool. But it almost happened so fast that I literally rewinded in my book to be like, wait, what? Like, what did I just miss? Because I don't even feel like she talks about Birdie throughout the memories where she's like, oh, I'm losing my memories, or I have this flash of Mason in the next life and things like that. Yeah. So I was surprised by how much of an emotional reaction that
elicited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely think I think it was mostly just because of the daughter relationship.
Yeah.
Like, because she had
such a cool
strained
twist.
Yeah, like, she had such a strained relationship with her daughter for the whole time, essentially, that we knew her in the book.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't the same mom that she had before, and Amon was so protective of her. And so I think that for me, it was, like, so beautiful because all that we've experienced with her daughter up to this point is kind of restrictions of what she's allowed to be as far as a mom goes in her life. And then we learned that she's grown up her whole life with her daughter. And
that is cool.
And then,
when you think about it like that.
Yeah. And it was just so sweet. Like, it just felt very sweet and comforting. And I just really appreciated that. But I kept thinking that there would be that they would go back and forth and there would be some reveals and things like that.
Yeah.
And there were a few, but yeah, I feel like that was the biggest one that triggered like oh my God.
Yeah. No, definitely. I did want to say, so did you like Eamon as a character? Like,
oh yeah.
Like in love with him kind of thing?
Oh,
he was the best.
Yeah.
I am wondering because he really was the best. And I think Julia had said she felt like she got so much of, I feel like I'm interviewing you. I don't know why, because I'm just like asking a question. But she had said that she was like, I feel like I really got to know Eamon, and it's crazy because you don't even have like his point of view, but you like understand his emotions so well and you hear him so well. And like, he is such a well thought out character, which is just great writing.
It is really
like,
good writing.
She did
a really good job with that.
Yeah, so good with it. And like everyone fell in love with Eamon. But I was like, I wonder if it's because he's a dad. And you get to see like a caring, protective side where I don't think there's a lot of dads in books.
Yeah, people are definitely suckers for a single dad.
Yes. Like protecting his little daughter.
Yes. People are suckers for that for sure.
Yeah.
I think also it was just, it was that, his protectiveness over his daughter and his family in general. Mm-hmm. But I think it was also just that it's very relatable to just like have to be doing everything that is on your plate, that like you have you have no option to not do it, you know? And he was like slaving away. And then also like every night being woken up by her nightmares and going to her bed. And like, it was just one of those things where it was like, he was just very likable and very relatable and very just like a solid person.
I was going to say, he's like that strong, calming presence that everyone like wants in your life.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he was such a good character.
Yeah. And she said something in the book, like she was describing how there was something that he said that was kind of intense. And she was like, it was really intense, and I don't get the impression that he is like an intense person. I think of him as kind of like calm and reserved and just like kind of gentle, honestly. Yeah. But he felt like he had to be because he was protecting his daughter. So I think that also was really sweet. But yeah, I really, really liked him. What'd you think of him?
I loved him. Yes, I loved him. I thought he was so great. He was so protective. And I also felt so bad for him, which I also think is another reason why people love him, because he's like so likable and he's like so hard on the exterior, but you know he's a softie on the inside. Yeah. And you have to feel bad for him because his wife, who is now here again, but not really here, came back. I kept trying to imagine how it would feel. I don't know. I was like, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
If your partner came back and it wasn't really your partner though, because it was like a totally different version. Yeah. And they don't really know you and they don't know things. And I was like, that is so hard.
It'd be so weird.
So weird.
Yeah. Like think of meeting your partner them 5 years ago or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really a strange thought. But I did love him. I loved that plot line. My only beef with Eamon is that I felt like he was too reserved at some points. Like I was like, you got to give her something, you know?
Oh yeah.
They kept hoping that she would go back through the door. Him and Esther and Margaret and whatever. They kept thinking she was going to go right back through the door, and then it didn't appear for forever. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, guys, you can't just send her into town without any preparation.
I know.
Like, you got to give her some details.
Yeah. And she had absolutely no idea about literally anything.
No.
Like, and not even like about, because there's a crime and a plot point, but like, she doesn't even know anything about their lives.
Right. Yeah. Like, she couldn't even, she's like,
I don't know this person's name. I don't know.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. And I mean, they didn't have to like school her on everything, but at least you know the murder investigation that's happening.
Yeah, by her brother.
Yeah, by her brother.
Yeah,
that's so wild. Oh my god.
That everyone thinks she did. Well, I guess everyone thought Eamon did it, but like, yeah, you should probably give her a heads up. Like, they do think I'm a murderer. I'm not.
You are.
But.
Did you see her being the murderer?
I don't know if I would have called it. It makes sense, and I could see it as a plot point making sense, but I don't think I was thinking like, oh, I bet she did it or anything like that.
It wasn't a focal point for me either. Like, I just don't think I was really guessing at who murdered.
Well,
because also first, wasn't it framed I know Susanna was framed as a suicide. We found out that was a murder.
Yeah.
But then also, wasn't Nathaniel's also kind of framed as like he fell or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So initially, like, there was no guessing at murder. But then the townsfolk who like, loved him so much, no conspiracy, you know.
Yeah.
And then of course his son had to find out.
Yeah. He was also a sheriff, and
yeah,
he had a complicated relationship with his daddy. He had daddy issues for sure.
I think everybody had a complicated relationship with that dude.
Yeah, he was the devil.
He was effed up.
Yeah. He was messed up.
I really like what Julia said in book club about how it was like a good example of how people do really shitty stuff in the name of God all the time. And it's like you have to be discerning when people are preaching nonsense or truth, you know?
Yeah. Dude, I'm like getting cringy or like goosebumpy thinking about it now whenever he was like said he was baptizing her when he was really just drowning her. But he was also like saying Bible verses and things, hymns or whatever. And I was just, oh my gosh, like it's still making me like,
it was so
creepy. It's so creepy.
Yeah. And I didn't put it two and two together, honestly, until book club. But then they were like, or maybe it was you, that it made her seize up so much.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever Eamon was talking about baptism, and she was like, wait, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that, right?
Yes.
And like, she didn't really know why she felt so strongly about it. She just knew that she had that really strong feeling.
That guttural reaction.
Yeah.
Julia pointed that out. I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. So scary.
It was so scary. Oh my gosh. I'm like,
it's so
it's freaky.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't think I had that much of like I did have that reaction while reading it, but when you're reading it, you're just like still going along with, you know, the next sentence and the next page, and like you're still caught up in the story. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God.
I think that's one thing about talking about the books, because when reading this book, I really just wanted to keep going. Like I wasn't really focused on the logistics of the time travel. I wasn't really focused on, okay, murder investigation, who did it, you know, and I wasn't really focused on the themes of religion and stuff like that. I really was just like invested in the story.
I feel like that's a great book then.
Yeah.
One that you can be fully invested into.
Yeah. I was just totally wanting to know what happened in the story, and all of the other stuff was cool to be included, but extraneous.
Yeah, I agreed. I felt like all the other things, I didn't think about like, oh, when's this going to come up again? Or like, oh, what's the point of this? I was just there.
Yeah,
I was just in the moment with the book. And I don't get like that often with books.
I actually don't either. I'm always like, oh, wait, what's this going to turn into? Or like, oh, I bet they bring that back up later.
Yeah, like you're looking for the clues. You're trying to figure it out.
I really just read this book very comfortably. Like it felt like it just kind of rolled off of the, I don't know.
Yeah, I put my review on Goodreads. I wrote like, I absolutely loved this book. I felt like I should be reading it curled up in a blanket with a hot cup of coffee, sitting outside during a rainstorm. Like, that's how I felt like I should be the entire time I was reading this book. And I wasn't a lot of the time. Well, the whole time I was audiobooking it and playing my little organization game on my phone. So it was great. It was grand.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really well rated. I gave it, I think I would give it a 4.5. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was going to say, what took you down again? I forgot.
I don't know why I don't feel like it's a 5. I like really can't put my finger on it. But I feel
that's okay.
But I feel like it's not quite a 5. I think it's also just because I am such a mood rater, and I felt so comfy and content reading this book, but I didn't feel like intensely excited, I guess. Or like when I finished, I wasn't like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like, I was just really like, oh, that was so wholesome and lovely. And I really enjoyed it. And so I think that just because it didn't elicit like any super strong emotions, like I just felt steady the whole time, you know, which was a great feeling. I really liked having a book like that. But yeah, I think that's why, like, I just don't feel like my mood was quite a 5. So I don't know if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I did end up giving it a 5. Yeah. And I think I'm like I don't think I'm actually a harsh critic. I just think I can always find reasons to not have it be a 5.
Yeah.
And I totally gave this book a 5. I was like, I loved every minute of it. I listened to it in like 2 days because I just couldn't stop listening to it. And it was like a 10-hour audiobook. And so that's a lot of spare time that I'm spending like listening to this book. And I just felt so good during it. I found myself wishing that there was more story, and like, I think a great book, and we were talking about this, but like if I didn't see the percentage that I was at, like if I didn't see on the audiobook, oh, you're 73% of the way through, I would have had no idea how much left of the book there was. And I think that's really good. Because a lot of times when I get to a certain point, I'm like, oh my God, when's this book going to get over? Yeah. Or like, okay, like we're kind of dragging it on. But I didn't feel like that. And I think a lot of people would have said that the book wrapped up like too quickly for their liking. But I feel like it even wrapped up like perfectly. It kind of gave you a glimpse into their future.
I liked the conclusion.
Man, so yeah, solid 5 for me.
I love that.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and yeah, I would recommend it to anybody for sure.
Me too.
And I even, it's a pretty quick read. Yeah, I really, really liked it, and I did like the conclusion. I had told Jared when he asked me what I would rate it before I had finished. He was like, "How are you feeling? You feel like it's really good, whatever?" And I was like, I really like it, but I have about 50 pages left, and I have no idea how they're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And if the conclusion sucks, then I will hate it.
It makes all the difference.
It really does. And I'm not the type of person that appreciates endings that are like bad, honestly. Yeah. Like I just am not tasteful enough for that. But so it has to be like a good, happy ending really for me. Yeah. It can be complicated, but it has to be like, it can't be a sad, or not sad, but like it can't be just like a bad, unresolved ending. I'm not good with that. So
I don't like cliffhanger endings.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, unless you're going to write a second.
Or like leave it up to the reader.
Oh,
I'm like, unless it's like a really small detail, or like it doesn't totally conclude the story, but you pretty much know what's going to happen. Yeah. Like in The Silent Patient that I read.
Oh, yeah.
At the end, there's like a little cliffhanger, but it's like you really know what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he doesn't spell it out or write it out, But anyway, so yeah, I really liked the conclusion of this one. Definitely. And I felt really good reading it. And I felt like it was a really unique book.
Yeah,
I've not read anything else like it.
I don't think I have either. It just kept reminding me of Practical Magic, but it's really just because it was a story about women.
It was that vibe though. Like I could picture some of the scenes in Practical Magic being in this.
Yes.
Like some of the like leaves blowing around.
Like the little fair that they go to. It feels like the little market that they go to a couple times, or things like that. And like being out at the nighttime. They have a lot of night scenes and Practical Magic. I also had literally just watched it. I did want to ask, did you think at all whenever the red door did appear and Eamon was like, June, go. Did you ever think she was going to go through the door?
When Caleb was about to like
arrest her?
I don't really know how I felt. I don't think I was like guessing whether she would or not. I didn't think that she would stay there, but I was like, maybe there's a chance she'll go back to the future and like find a way to come back or something. Yeah. But there weren't enough pages left for them to do all that. Oh. So I felt like
something has to happen.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I think she has to stay because it's there was so little left. Like,
that is so
I was
funny.
like, she has to stay because if she went back to the future and tried to figure out a way, like, I don't know. I don't think that I didn't think she would go through it.
Yeah. But I really thought she was going to.
Really?
I did because it's only like this little thing. And again, I listened to it. So I didn't know like how much was left of it.
Right.
But I'm hearing her saying like, okay, if I went back, like I know I love Mason. I know I would be with Mason at some point, but I would forget this family that I have here. Mm-hmm. But she already knows in the past that she's in right now that like her memories will fade over time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's comfortable with like knowing that she had this family and she'll forget them eventually, but like that's okay with her. She'll just move on. And I really thought she was going to go, especially when he's like, go. Because I'm thinking like, okay, she's going to say it's better for her family. They're asking her to go, blah, blah, blah.
That would be so...
I know.
I wouldn't have been happy with that.
Good. I would not have been happy with it either because I was like, that is definitely the wrong move. don't do it. And then she did it, but I loved it so much because she was like, and then I realized I've already made the choice before. And that, I think that extra made me think that she was going to leave. She was like, I've already chose this life. Let me choose the other one now. But I loved that she was like, I've already made this choice before.
Yeah.
And she made it again. I know. I'm upset. Morgan's tearing up.
I can feel it. You know how we just released our I'm Overwhelmed episode, and we talked about how when I'm on the verge of tears, I know I'm overwhelmed. I have been on the verge of tears like all week. So it's also the book. But but yeah.
I hit something.
Yeah,
it was cute.
Oh, yeah, that's so sweet. I don't think I picked out that line.
It was so good because she said she's already made the choice before, so she was just going to make it again. I'm going to try to find it.
That is so sweet. I love that so much. It reminds me, talking about time travel, it reminds me of in Harry Potter when, he's waiting for his dad to show up when the Dementors are there and they're sucking Sirius's soul out. And he's like, no, he'll come. And Hermione's like, he's not coming. Harry, he's dying. And then Harry later is like, casts his Patronus and saves him, whatever. But then he had, later while they're flying, he says to Hermione, I knew I could do it because I'd done it before. Does that make any sense? And she's like, no. But he was like, I knew that I could because I had done it before. And it's so weird because before in the past, in the future.
You're like, how do I say it?
Exactly, yeah.
No, that one is good. I forgot that he sits there and says, no, he's coming. He's waiting for him the whole time. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's going to make me emotional.
Yeah. Did you find the line?
No, not yet.
Oh.
It's got to be so close. I didn't realize it really was.
It was so close to the end.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm close. June. Okay. Hold on.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. So Caleb has him.
Okay, yeah. So I'd seen in those memories of Mason something I'd always secretly wanted. And then there was this one with Eamon. Oh, it does look like Eamon there.
I told you!
A simple existence in a little house of Hayward Gap Road in the time I actually belonged. It was such an easy thing. That choice. I'd already made it.
Oh.
Isn't that good?
Yes, I have goosebumps. You can't tell because I have tights and long sleeves. But yeah, that just gave me goosebumps. That's so sweet.
It's so good.
Oh, it was an easy choice. I had already made it. I love it so much.
Me too. Honestly, that line, that maybe is what gave it 5 stars for me. Maybe that's what you needed while you were reading it.
Yeah, no kidding.
You just absolutely missed it.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I love that.
Just kidding. Anyway, I feel so good about it.
Me too. I loved it. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like we've covered everything that we want to for this book?
I think so, yeah. If you are listening and you have not read this book this month, I highly, highly recommend it. Highly encourage it.
It would be great for November, too.
Yes. It's a great book because it's not like they talk about Halloween.
Yeah.
Or even October.
Yeah.
I think they just talk about fall and
it's so
autumn
good.
vibes.
The vibes are so good.
So good.
And yeah, so next month is my pick. Mm-hmm. And I picked Last Christmas in Paris.
Yes.
I don't know the author or anything. It's kind of a historical fiction, romance type book. Mm-hmm. And the reason I picked it was because I was trying to find winter books. Yep. And it was rated 4.12 on Goodreads.
High
so
rating.
I was like, hopefully this will be good. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But yeah, so if you guys want to follow along and read that with us leading up to December, then
we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We hope you enjoyed the bonus book club episode, and we'll see you next month for our next book club episode. But we'll also see you in a couple days
every
for
Monday.
Our Monday episode. Well, cheers!
Cheers!